When the merchandise is right, the displays are awesome. You have a beautiful store, your location is incredible. You spend hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to build up this huge inventory. So why is the average inventory turn in our industry 1.3 times? I go into stores, it's 0.8, 0.9. Some have across the board the 2-time inventory turn. And or it's 4 times. Can you imagine that? How could you not sell a $30 bead though? You know what I mean? And what's interesting is it costs 27% a year of what you pay for something to keep it. Fixed expenses today are higher than they've ever been. Look at rent, insurance, payroll, electricity, commission, replacement. It costs a lot to keep it. A lot. And actually, it's all about salesmanship. Everything is about salesmanship. It's what happens to that client that comes in your front door that makes your inventory turn. Oh, sure, you got to have the right inventory. And what is interesting is I had a lot of my accounts last year run a report for me. I love all the inventory tracking programs. Focus is great, ARMS is great, the Edge is great. There's a lot of them. And they give you all kinds of inventory reports, you guys. But what's really sad is our closing ratio in our industry. How much time do you spend training your people to sell the merchandise you got? And in this report, we averaged some numbers, and I just thought this was really interesting. Last year, 63% of all jewelry sold in our country, with my accounts, and I've had several of them, several thousand send this stuff to me over the last few years, 63% was diamonds. Big diamonds, little ones, left hand bridle, right hand diamonds, loose, diamond pendants, diamond studs, diamond bracelets, diamonds. 63%. Last year, colored gemstones fell to 6. That's the lowest they've been in a long time. People aren't buying a lot of colored gemstones a lot. Maybe you're a colored stone store and that's different for you because you specialize in it and that's great. But across the board, it's 6%. Last year, silver was 20% of the inventory sold. So it's just really changing. But diamonds are king. They've been king a long time. But last year, I just thought it was really interesting. 63%. And a report that you all need to run, and I'm going to explain this. In this presentation, there's several parts of this presentation that it's a 3-hour lecture, and I've got like 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'm just going to cover certain parts of presentations. And like I said, there's several parts of this that are rather lengthy. But what is interesting is when you start looking at what your inventory is actually doing, are the magic numbers. And you say, Shane, what are magic numbers? That is popular price points. Through the recession, our country became a price point shopping nation. And you have some diamond studs. You've got carat total weight, and they're $15.95. It's Christmas time. The guy comes in for diamond studs, and you start showing them to him. He looks at the price and goes, oh man, that's too much money. So now you can come back and say, well, what did you have in mind? And he said, well, I wanted to spend about $700. And you'll say, well, we've got some half-carat total weight at $6.95. He says, let me see them. And there was no diamond presentation. He totally bought them because they were in his price point. His price point was $700, and these were $6.95. Every store has magic numbers, and every $1,000 increment, 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, 2,000 to 3,000, every $1,000 increment has its own set of magic numbers. And you need to run the report for 3 years and find out what were the most popular price points in every $1,000 increment. Now, if you're a Rolex store, that changes your magic numbers. If you're a high-end branded store, that changes your magic numbers. If you're in a blue-collar area, it changes your flat magic numbers. If you're in a white-collar area, it changes your magic numbers. And from 0 to 1,000, your magic numbers might be $79.50, $175, $250, $395, $475, $595, $650, $795. Now what is interesting is when you run the report, when you go and you go to JCK, you come here, you go to the shows, you go to purchase, you want to buy inventory, when you look at your markups, will allow your magic numbers to fit so that you're not going down. You always got to mark it up. And I brought with me the markups that most stores right now in the United States are using that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Now, if you're getting more than the markups I'm telling you that's the average in the United States, don't mark it down. All right? And if you're finding out that you're not selling as many diamonds as you should be and your margins are too high, mark it down. I'm not saying this is gospel. I'm just telling you what this is as averages, all right? But your magic numbers are very important. So you run this report, and you find out in 3 years that $695, $695 came up 1,200 times. Well, guess what? I'm going to have pearls that are $695, diamond studs, $695, colored stones that are $695. I'm going to have left hand, right hand. I'm going to have every category with $695 so that I can reach that price point that a client wants to spend. If they come in for pearls, I got them at $695. So today, you guys, for your inventory to turn faster, you've got to be extremely price point smart. It's called your magic numbers. And every store's magic numbers are different. There's not a master list of magic numbers that are just the same across the United States. It's based on all that information I just talked to you about a little bit ago. But your magic numbers are important. They've done all kinds of psychological studies on numbers. And don't end it in something stupid, like $389.95. So look at it and go, that's a dumb number. And you got dumb numbers, make them common numbers. All right? Magic numbers. These are called price, point, popular. Run a report. 3 years. Find out what yours are. Now you guys, you got to believe in your prices. You got to get back to having one price on the tag. You got to get back at selling at the price on the tag. And you know, most owners, not all, but most owners want you to stay off the floor. Because most owners are the ones that are responsible for the lowest gross profit that a store has in sales. Owners, you want your salespeople to sell it, and you give it away. Why do you do that? What's wrong with you guys? But I don't want to sell it. Don't you know how to close without butchering your price? And so, you got to believe in your prices. And these are the markups that jewelers are using across the country. Like I said, if yours are higher, that's great. If you can't get these margins because you got super stiff competition, change them. You guys, you got to study this a little bit. By the way, what I'm going to give you is the bottom line. If you're going to negotiate it, you add here. You add 10% to it. Or if your store does 20, you add 20. This is the bottom, all right? Now, what is interesting? Hey, my friend, how are you doing? I see you high-fiving there. 0 to 300, and I want to give you jewelry first, and then we'll talk about diamonds. Jewelry markups. 0 to $300. Right now it's times 3. 300 to 800 is 2.75. 800 to 1500 is 2.5. 1500 to 3000 is 2.25. 3000 to 5000 is times 2. 5,000 and up, depending on what it is. It could be 1.5, 1.75, whatever you feel your market will bear. Now, colored and gemstones, if you buy them loose, has the highest margin. Stores are getting 3 to 4 times markup right now on colored gemstones, you guys. But last year they made up 6% of all jewelry sold. So just because they have the highest margins doesn't mean you're going to buy a whole bunch of them because the margins are higher. Because last year they were 6% of what was sold. Is it ruby, sapphires, and emeralds? No, it's tourmaline, topaz, and aqua, and all sorts of things that people have not bought for years. In fact, a whole lot of stores I've been in lately don't even have an opal anymore. And you got to be very good with your diamond shapes, and we're going to talk about markups there. Rounds are still king, but princess is the most popular of all fancies. The last year Marquis was hot. The last year Marquis was hot was 1996. And when people come in and got one, they haven't bought one for a while. I saw a Marquis. Is that what your wife wants? Well, I don't know. I saw one. Some of you bought a whole lot of them during the gold rush. You're sitting on a ton of marquee. Well, that doesn't mean you're going to sell them. You're just sitting on them. And you're going to be sitting on them for a while, because I don't see them turning anytime soon. By the way, the emerald shape is making a comeback also. It's getting popular again when they're over a carat, not a half carat. I mean, that, you know, it's got to be decent for an emerald shape to look at. 4 carat deep flawless is pretty awesome looking. Diamonds. Diamond markups, fifths, quarters, and thirds. Like I said, if you're getting higher margins in this and you're selling a lot of diamonds, leave your margins alone. But people are calling me all the time saying, hey Shane, I'm not selling carats, I'm not selling carats. Well, what are you marketing? Well, I'm still trying to get keystone. Well, there's a problem, because trying's not going to make it happen. Now, if you're an awesome buyer and you've got a lot of money and you've got deep pockets and you buy parcels and you can buy them 30 back, well, what everybody else buys 30 back, and you can make margins because you can buy because you've got a lot of cash, that's a different story. But usually people aren't buying diamonds that way. And I'd like all of you to have at least 100 diamonds over a carat in your inventory. That's funny, right? Go to the automobile dealership, ma'am, and tell me how many new cars they got. They got thousands. And if you don't have it, they're not going to buy it from you. When they come in today to buy a diamond, they buy a diamond the day they go look. They don't want you to, man, oh, I can get you some in. Well, you're telling them you're not big enough for them. You got to have inventory. That way you can sell against your competitors, you can sell against the internet and everybody else that thinks they're in the diamond business. But one of the problems is most stores don't have diamond inventory anymore. Well, I got a couple diamonds over a carat. Well, the most I've sold in one day, my personal record of 1 carat sales in one day is 16. Now, if you don't have any, you're not going to be selling any. You guys got to get out of your own way. Diamond markups, fifths, quarters, and thirds. 2.5 margin. Half carats, 2.25. 3 quarters times 2. 1 carats, depending on the carat, the cut, the percentages. Oh, and the lab report. Because some don't carry much clout when they're off 4 colors and 4 clarities, in my opinion. And then one of the problems we have is you sell it at the clarity and the color on the lab report, and we know that's not the real color and clarity, but the lab report says it is, so hey, that justifies it, right? No. I burn those. If it's really an I2, you call it an I2. The one getting burned is a client. So 1 carats are 1.5 to 1.65. 2 and 3 carats are 1.33. 2 and 3 carats are 1.33. 4 carats and up are 1.5. Goes the other direction. Rarity. Find a VS1F 000 4.5 carat. Your client wants it now. Colored diamonds. Natural Fancy Intense Colored Diamonds. One of my accounts just sold a Melly. Natural Fancy Intense Red. Bless you. 96 pointer. Now you know Melly is anything under a carat. You know that, right? Melly's 99 points and down. We know that. 96 points. Most red diamonds are heavily included. This was an I2. Natural Fancy Intense Red, said on the lab report, 1.1 million. Lady wrote a check for it. She came in. You know why she bought it? Because she could. Yeah, people buy high-end cars and Lexus and high-end BMWs, and they buy Bentleys, they buy stuff all the time. You guys are the luxury market in your town. You should be selling big diamonds, not letting them go somewhere else to buy them, because people in your town buy big diamonds. All of them do, and you're letting them go somewhere else and buy it. You've got to change your attitude. So colored diamonds are times 2. But you got to believe in your prices. Here we go again. And if you're a store that takes 10% off every time you sell something, your store does $1 million. You took $100,000 off in a year. $100,000. You're a $2 million store, and you take off 20%, you took off $400,000. You're giving it away. Why did you put the price on it if you don't believe it? Your merchandise can't do its job and make you money until you believe in your merchandise and you make your merchandise make you money. You guys understand what I just said? You got to believe in it. Well, down the street it was cheaper. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Compared to what? What does cheap mean? What kind of lab report did it have? Did it even have one? How was it cut? Was it cut by a blind guy with a hatchet in the dark room? I had an account. I was at their store about a month ago, and this lady brought in a Leo diamond from the chain store, and they advertised them all the time on TV. Well, I got to see this Leo diamond, and the girdle was thicker than a nickel. I could have written Goodyear on it and raised white letters and read it. Oh, it was cheaper because it was supposed to be. So what does cheap mean? Well, I saw it on the internet. Really? Oh yeah, they've got a virtual diamond inventory. Really? You guys, you got to learn how to handle the objection. It's cheaper down the street. You got to sell company benefits. Oh yeah, tools that you use that sells your company, that outsells other clients. Now, I'll never slam anybody, but listen to me very carefully. Your professionalism, if they've been somewhere else first, your professionalism has to eliminate the professionalism of the last presenter. You don't slam people, but you got to be more professional. Your salesmanship has to end. Their ability to be better than you. Then you got company benefits, reasons to buy from you. We have a jeweler on premises, custom manufacturing, diamond setting, warranties, guarantees, diamond trade-in policies, all of this stuff. And so you got to be awesome at selling your company. There's 3 things sold every time a client comes in. Yourself first, the company second, and the product third. Oh yeah.
And if you're not
yourself first, company second, product third. And if you're not doing that, your competition's going to win. But what really sucks in our country, oh yeah, it does, it sucks, are the closing ratios. I've told you for years that about 75% of all people buy the day they shop, because if they're shopping today, they don't have time to shop tomorrow. I fall in that category. In fact, I hate shopping. I call them to see if they got it. Why drive there if they don't have it? Well, that number's changed. It's knocking on 80% today, by the day they shop. Impatient country. And every time a client says, I'll be back, well, 93% of them that say, I'll be back, never come back. And the reason is because 60 to 70% of all people buy within the first 2 hours of leaving your location. I hate that. But I've never done this. I've said I'll be back and went somewhere else and bought it, and I actually told them a lie. What I should have done is went back because I told them I was going to come back, say, hey, I wanted to let you know I came back, but I bought it somewhere else. But I didn't want you to think I was lying, so I came back because I told you I was coming back. Do you understand? I've never done that. Have you? No, they don't, because they purchased it. Malls, closing ratios right now in the United States. Malls. And I get stacks of these every month. Or 8 to 12%. They have to wait on 100 people to write up 8 to 12 sales slips. You want to know why people get burned out working in malls? Then they start using the Indian opening. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? I'm not so hot. How are you? I'm standing here all day watching these stupid people walk up and down. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you guys?
Good, sorry we're late.
Mm-hmm. Marcus, get your skinny up here. Here, I got a seat for you right here. What kind of socks you got on today, brother? Oh, jeez. He always wears funky socks, pink ones. Independently owned stores that are downtown, in strip centers. Closing ratios right now are running 23%. 80% by the day they shop, 23%. Freestanding stores, nothing's attached to you. You've got your own parking lot. Closing ratios are running 27 to 33%. 80% by the day they shop. Branded stores. They have Rolex, Vertical Coin, Hearts on Fire, Simon G, Jaeger, Breitling. Aunt Dora? Can you imagine taking 3 hours to sell a lady $30 meeting? Yeah, branded stores' closing ratios can be as high as 45%. Well, back we were in Wailea, Hawaii, Emily and JT and I have an account there. They're a Rolex store. Emily wanted to go on a dress-up date. Now, those of you that really know me know I wear custom cowboy boots, starched jeans, western shirts, had on a custom Stetson when I arrived last night. That's how she dresses. Isn't that right? Isn't that how you always pick me up at the airport? Isn't that how to dress? Emily meant dressed up date. JT and I were putting on suits. We decided to go in one of the Wailea restaurants there and eat, and we were walking by some of the higher end stores they had. They had a Cartier, boutique, what have you, and there was a Tiffany's there. My wife's a gemologist, been in the industry her whole business. She's flown all over the world buying colored gemstones. And she said, let's go in. Tiffany's. So we went in and they had a security guard there with his gun on, had on his rocking shoes. Stand by the front door, giving everybody coming in dirty. So I gave the dirty bag. They had these 23-year-old, skinny, blonde-haired girls wearing short black dresses. So snooty that if they'd have passed gas, they'd have blown their head off at the shoulders. No smiles, no hellos, no nothing. They practiced departmentalized salesmanship. Each one had their own department. Then we walked up to the lady standing behind that colored stone case, and there was a 5-carat Paraiba, Caribbean ocean water blue in there. And then we said, I'd love to see it. The young lady, now my wife had on diamonds all over the place, big ones. My wife doesn't wear Melly. And she said, I'd like to see that Paraiba. And the young lady said, it's a lot of money. Compared to what? Everything's affordable to somebody. And we sell out of our own pocketbook. We got this poverty level mentality. You guys kill sales. Oh, that's a lot of money. Really? My wife said, I'd like to see it. I got to grab case key? Like you're kidding, right? So she grabs a case key. There's a guy standing by the front door with a gun on. Emily and I decided we'd never steal anything in front of JT. He was standing right there. She had on high heels, my wife. She's tall anyway, but can you imagine trying to run in high heels by a guy with a gun? Because we stole their Paraiba. So anyway, the young lady, she reached in the case and she grabbed it. She put it on her own finger, locked it on her thumb and said, see it, and put it up. And I said, do you read in-store magazines? She said, yeah, we read it. I said, really? I said, have you read any article where I wrote one said, treat your clients like crap when they come in like you're doing? 45% closing ratio some branded stores have. Not that one. How much time do you have having sales meetings, not store meetings? Role-playing closing on how to close sales and teaching your salespeople how to close sales. And there's 7 types of closes. Actually, there's 8. One, when you talk about the clerk presentation on the clerk close. How often do you teach them how to close all the way through, close at the end? And you know what's amazing is we spend all this money on beautiful stores, you spend all this money on inventory. How much money do you spend training your people? Your number one asset, your people, not your inventory, not your advertising, not your building. People call me all the time, hey Shane, I'm having a hard time finding good people. Really? Well, how much time do you spend training the ones you got? Oh, I don't. Strike one. You got to train. It's all about salesmanship. So why am I bringing up closing ratios? Well, I can show you stores all over the United States where we've doubled the closing ratio when I start training. And when you double the closing ratio, oh, let's go back to your inventory turn. When you double the closing ratio, inventory turn doubles. You triple your closing ratio, inventory turn triples. You guys, it's not about the inventory, it's about salesmanship. It's amazing. So here's what I want you to do. Don't think about it. You're here to learn something, so do what I'm going to tell you right now. Get a counter on your door. Find out how many clients are coming in every day. Then see how many sales slips you write up a day. Repair tickets come out. That's labor. So if you had 100 people came in and you wrote up 10 sales slips that day, your closing ratio is 10%, and that sucks. 90% walked out empty-handed. 60 to 70% of them bought within the next 2 hours after leaving your location. So did you know, now listen to this, the average closing ratio in independently owned stores like yours is 23%. 23. 77% are walking out empty-handed. You are walking out more money every year than you are taking in. You're giving it away to your competitors. That's why you got competitors. If your closing ratio would keep going up, competitors around you would start closing because they can't compete. So it's about closing ratio, you guys, so start tracking it. And if you want to start tracking it, send it to me. I can tell you what you need to train on just by looking at your numbers. How many of you in here know the 8 types of closes other than the ones I've trained? How many of you in here know how to close all the way through and be so smooth that if the client doesn't know you're closing, other than the ones in here I've trained? How do you know when you're in the 30-second window when it's time to close? Huh? You guys got to know that. They're coming in to give you money, but here's what's the bad part about this. Over 70% of all people coming in can't make up their own mind. They're paying you to do that. They pay you to tell them to buy it. 70% can't make up their own mind. You see, if everybody could make up their own mind, jewelry would be in a vending machine. They put in a credit card to push Q7. I want that one. There wouldn't be salespeople at automobile dealerships, real estate, insurance, nothing. Everybody just know what they want, so they'd buy it. There wouldn't need to be salespeople. And then there's the problem with old inventory. What to do with it. And less than 20% of your inventory should be 2 years old or older. Less than 20%. I saw your eyebrows go up. What is yours, 80? 27% a year, what you paid for it to keep it. 2 years, you're 54%. My very last day when I can't be fired, I've stored stuff up I want to say. Clients come in, they go, is this all you have? $1 million inventory, is this all you have? I was in the store last week, they had 10,000 SKU numbers. Is this all you have? Yes. Why don't you buy all of it? Tell me how much more you want. 10,000 SKU numbers. I don't see anything I like. Where'd you buy that ugly crap here? Where in Walmart? That sucks. Your jewelry's ugly. Nothing's jumping out at me. Yesterday, lady got hit in the eyeball by a jumping jewelry. Fall out. I saw that ring right there down the street. No, we've had that one actually 7 years. Sitting right there. Ugly. I don't know who bought that dog. That's a piece of crap. You like it? I've heard jewelers switch diamonds. How do you think we got all of these? That was your neighbor's? That's how I got it. I like it a lot. Well, you stored it up too. Don't tell me you haven't. 2-year-old inventory, you guys. It's killing you. So mark it up 10%, put a 20% spiff on it, and reward your salespeople for selling it. Get it out of there. It's not making you any money. It's not making you any money. None. It's just sitting. Yeah, but they want one. I got one. Yeah, 10 years, maybe. It's old. Now, if you don't want to do that, have an inventory reduction event. Do whatever you can to get that old inventory out and buy stuff that's diamonds, diamond studs, diamond pins, diamond bracelets. Buy what sells. 63% diamonds. Yeah, but Shane, I really like this line. Well, maybe your clients don't, and maybe your salespeople don't. And maybe it's not the magic numbers. There's a whole lot that goes into this if you want your inventory to turn fast. Promotions, they're great. You guys are all getting calls every day for donations, are you not? Donate to this, donate to that, donate to this, donate to that. I've got a client that does like 20 million. He has a lady he had to hire just to take care of donations. All the time. All the time. And obviously, because you're jewelers, you're multi-millionaires. Because, I mean, you've got a 10-time markup on everything. Everybody knows that, right? You guys in here all millionaires? Yeah. Cash rich. Well, what is interesting is they decided, when people called in for a donation, they said, we have a form you need to come in and fill out. What is it for? Who's going to be the recipient? How are we going to be recognized? What's the money going to be used for? What is the organization? Half of them don't even come in. They just want you to send them a check. Then they started saying all of our dollars for our next year's donations are going to be allocated in January. So if you'd like to be on this list, we'd like for you to be, but we're going to decide who gets our monies. This one gentleman in Pennsylvania, I'm not going to tell you the store, he finally said, Shane, I don't even get thank you cards when we donate anymore. You said you never do. So he said, I'm not doing it anymore. I want to do my own. I said, what are you going to do? It's a neat story. Last year, there was this young Marine got killed. And found out his wife lived on the base, had 3 little kids. So he said, I got a hold of this Homes for Humanity. Wanted to know what it cost, what you had to do. He said, I had 3 event nights. I took 10% of my profit, just donated it to this. He said, I had a couple of people. An elderly lady came in and said, I want any jewelry. She just said, this is a $1,000 check. Make sure it goes to this home for this young man. He had people came in and give him money and didn't buy jewelry. One of the automobile dealerships in his town called up and said, hey, I'd like to be part of this. He said, no, I'm doing it. He got write-ups in the paper. He got national stuff in his area on TV. He got stuff on the radio. All of a sudden, all the advertising agencies were coming to him. We had 3 event nights. Ended up with enough money to pay cash for the house and had money left to give her for furniture. So he did his own donation to society. Said, Shane, I had more 6- and 7-digit-a-year wage earners come in my store. I didn't even know they lived in the area. I had more people came out to support this than I've ever had. He said, I got more new clients than I've ever had in my life. He said, yeah, it cost 60 grand or whatever the price was. He said, I had more than enough money to pay for it. And so this year he's doing something else similar. And so he handed a lady with 3 kids keys to a brand new home paid for. Start thinking outside of the box. Because there's a lot better ways than just donate, not even get a thank you card, not even know what's happening anymore. People say, well, that's what I do in my old inventory. Well, I guess that's one way to get rid of it, but you guys got to be more creative than that. So promotions are awesome. His was one of the coolest ones I've heard of in a long time. I just wanted to share it with you because you want to talk about moving inventory? It moved inventory. It moved a lot of inventory. Talk about, right, getting merchandise out. And something else that is very interesting about our industry, this is another very long presentation. I'm going to just take a few moments, but you guys spend wing-it money on advertising. Let's try this. Let's do this event. Jewelers are calling me all the time saying, hey Shane, the ladies' night doesn't work so hot anymore. We quit doing the men's night. We don't do this. That trunk show wasn't so good. I mean, I get calls all the time. What's going on in our industry? Well, people get for sale stuff in their mailbox all the time. Do they not? I'm putting it through my shredder every day. Don't even look at it. They don't look at yours either. It's changing. And so you spend all this money on advertising. Is it really working? And the reason you spend money on advertising is to bring clients in because your closing ratio is so low. If your closing ratio was 50 to 60%, you wouldn't have to spend a nickel on advertising because your closing ratio is so high. That's why we do it, is to bring in clients. Did you know we're spending about $40 a head average in the United States to bring clients in? Approximately $40 a head. That's kind of the average number. So you close 2 or 3 out of every 10, well, $40. Look how much is walking out the door on $40 every head you don't close. It's a lot of money. Oh yeah, fixed expenses. 27% a year, what you pay for? Fixed expenses. Radio used to be king. All the new cars now are coming out with satellite radio. All of ours have it. I don't have a commercial at all. I just put on the 70s channel. Whatever. No commercials. So drive time's not that good. Not anymore. Most newspapers, not all, most, are in financial problems because everybody gets their news off the internet. Billboards, some of them, $10,000 a month. Check it out. That leaves TV and direct mail and what have you. Well, if you're going to be on TV, Comcast has, what, 100, how many channels do they have? Every area is different. I think our TV has 135 channels. I don't know. But what you want to do is find out what channel the 27 to 35-year-olders are watching, especially the 27-year-olders. Why? That's the average age of people getting married today in the United States. Where are they buying their bridal, you guys? So here's what you want to know. By the way, you want to categorize it by dollars. I'd like to be $50,000 and up to the 27-year-olders. Here's what you want to know. What channel do they turn on and what time? That research is out there at your fingertips, but you've got to make the right calls to get it. Then you want to know what channel the 35 to 50-year-olds turn on. Maybe you want 80 to $120,000 wage earners in that group. What channel and what time? Third, 50 and up. 100,000 and up. Income bracket. What channel and what time? But here's what you do. You call your cable provider, you buy a package, and it's all over the place. You got commercials all over the place, you guys, on all kinds of channels, and you don't even know if people are watching them. Oh, the TV station will say, oh yeah, this channel's watched a lot. That's not what I want to know. I want to know by age group and income bracket. That way you're not spending wing-it money on something and trying to throw your dollars that you're spending on advertising down the tubes, because most advertising dollars goes down the tubes. Now, advertising and marketing are not the same thing. Marketing, you're spending money on clients that are already clients. It's your mailing list. It's your email addresses. So marketing money is money that goes to people that knows you. Advertising money is on the TV or the radio or whatever medium you use. And that's going to all the people that don't know you that you want for clients. So marketing and advertising, two different areas spent. Now, the breakdown, marketing should be anywhere from 10 to 20% of your budget. Advertising should be anywhere from 80 to 90% of your budget. And what else is interesting is most 27-year-olders, web pages with that age group are busiest at 9 p.m. And what is interesting is a lot of our web pages are, some of you still got up the first one you put up in 1940. Antiquated, old. Web pages need a lot of work, you guys. You got to have a history page. You need a ring bridle on it. You need a virtual diamond inventory. You need a page that talks about all the company benefits, why to buy from you, your photos. They've got to be incredible. You need photos of everything you have in every category. You need your studs. You need your rings, everything. Your web page is researched thoroughly. You want the 27-year-older? Guess what? Your computer's got to be awesome. You got to go after the niche in the right way. So we got to start doing more research on our advertising, because advertising really isn't working. Not really. But then let's go back to salesmanship. Let's just talk about one tiny little tool called the add-on. Every time you sell an item, you got to replace it, so there's a replacement cost. And fixed expenses go against it. Advertising, rent, insurance, payroll, commission, just goes on and on and on. So the fixed expenses against your actual salesmanship ability on the price that you're getting for it is huge. And I'd like you to get your gross profit somewhere between 52 and 54%. And that's hard for stores that sell a lot of high-end items that have a 38% gross profit margin like Rolex, you guys, but you need to be around 52. Your net needs to be somewhere between 8 and 12. Most stores gross is in the 40s, some high 30s. A lot of stores net's 2 to 3%. We're not making any money. You're not making any money. You're surviving, but you're not making any money. We're in this to make money. Oh yeah, we're in it to give clients an awesome experience when they come in. We're selling jewelry, but you're doing it to make money. Well, the add-on is very interesting. I love computers and I hate them, but computers have killed add-on sales. Point of sale? Oh yeah, that POS, I got a term for that, we won't use it. But it is killed add-ons. Because as soon as you sell the first item, we spin, and you go to POS. So just by spinning, you just told your client, you're done. What if they weren't done? Can you imagine taking 3 hours to sell one bead? And then they're done? Somebody's toast. The add-on, you guys got to go back to old-fashioned salesmanship. In fact, I just had an article in InStore about it, if you read it. About having awesome counter pads with your name on it, say Decker Diamond Jewelers, in this nice, thick, gorgeous paper. It's got a place with the name, address, email. It's got a lot of lines on it. And when I started 42 years ago, we had a lot of lines on pads so that you just keep the sale going. And what you do is you call it the open ticket method. And as I'm writing everything down, I sell a strand of pearls. I write it down. I just put the pin on top of it, and I slide the pin over on top of the pad to my left, the client's right. There's no line. There's no tax. We're not done. You got to quit walking away. Walking away is killing you. In the old days, 40 to 50% of all sales slips written in jewelry stores had 2 and 3 items on it. Today, 95 out of every 100 sales slips written is a one-item ticket. It's that. So 95% of your tickets are one-item tickets. So what's so important about the add-on? Well, the add-on is profitable because you see when you sell the first item, the fixed expenses come off of that one. When you sell the second item on the ticket, all you got is a replacement cost because the fixed expenses came off the first item. The second item is pure profit other than replacing it. But when you add on, your inventory just moved twice as fast. And the add-on, the rule is it should be half the amount of the first item, so you're not taking away the importance from the first item they purchased. And the average Christmas buyer buys 15 to 20 gifts, and the average jewelry store salesperson sells them one. Goodbye. Oh, I'm spinning. You purchased. Get your crap out of here. I'm done. You're done. So what you do is you use a tool called the lead-in line. And what a lead-in line does is it leads them into the next presentation. And how you lead them into the next presentation is like this. We have the matches. This is part of a set. Oh, I got to show you what goes with this. Those are called lead-in lines, rather than spinning. So add-ons make that ticket extremely profitable, and it made the inventory move twice as fast. So your goal should be get your add-ons up to 10%, then 20, then 30, then 40. Quit selling. Clients quit buying when you quit selling. Sell killer, big time. My favorite lead-in line at Christmas time is this one. Just sold the first item, writing it all down, putting the pin over to my left, their right, looking square in the eye and saying, how many others are on your list? That's all you got to say. Do you have a daughter? Yes. How old? She's 13. Well, every little girl needs her first set of diamond studs from her dad. That's a tradition. Bam! You have a son? Yeah. Does he have a timepiece? No. Well, let's get him started. Got any outlaws coming, like your mother-in-law coming to Christmas time? Keep the sale going. Now, I like to use the lead-in line in the middle of my presentation. My wife likes to add on at the end, but in the middle, I'll look and square down and say, oh, remind me to show you what goes with this before we leave. Just in the middle, just plant the seed in the middle. And he goes, well, not right now. Just when we're done. Well, what he does is he hurries up and buys this because he wants to find out what it is I want to show him. So it becomes a close. Didn't he want it to be a close? But it is. You need to get your add-on tickets up to 30 to 40%. But sometimes people don't have the self-confidence. They think after they sell the first one, they've got to run right away because if I try for another, it's going to kill the first one. Man, you didn't keep it closed, did you? It's about closing. You guys, you want your inventory turned to double? You got to close sales. It's not about the inventory. It's about salesmanship. And it's about teamwork. The definition of teamwork is unselfish recognition, working together to reach a common goal. That's teamwork. Unselfish recognition, working together to reach a common goal. I don't have any place for salespeople that have this attitude in jewelry stores. Oh, that's my client. I sold him a battery 10 years ago. You looked at my client, woman? I started with a lady, her name was Virginia. She believed that TL was a takeover. You ever work somewhere like that? She smoked filterless Camel cigarettes. She is 72. When I started, she'd been in the industry 54 years. The store I started in was long and skinny and had a tin ceiling. Front door lined up with the door that went down a hallway out the back, with the office and the shop and everything was off that hallway, but the door you couldn't see if you kept it shut. Well, Virginia liked to leave that door open, and she'd leave the security door in the alley open and just look through the screen door, smoking her filterless cigarette. Now, I'm at the front, the sweet spot, ready to greet a client. I'm clear at the front, smiling, ready to greet. From the alley, looking through the screen door, smoking a cigarette. Goes like this. Leo! I'll be right back. She could take a cell over 150 feet away. Teamwork, you guys. You got to get out of your own way. When somebody has a high-ticket sale, congratulate them. I don't care who closed it. I don't care whose name's on the ticket, but I care there's a ticket. You guys, salesmanship is about giving a client an experience they can't get anywhere else, not fighting over somebody or acting like a 2-year-old because somebody's waiting on somebody you waited on once. That's a sell killer. Clients hate it. Makes it stressful the rest of the day. People walk around pouting. acting like a bunch of babies. On sales floor, you're 30, 50, 20. Self-killer. The amazing thing about it is, the more fun the client has, the higher the closing ratio. You get a client to laugh, closing ratio goes up 50%. If they have fun, they brag about it, they come back in. The best way to preserve client loyalty is to close the sale. You walk somebody because you don't know how to close it, you don't know how to do the sales presentation, they buy somewhere else. Well, you just gave that company your money every time they buy jewelry, because that's where they're going. People go where they're successful. Successful means close. Successful means giving you money and leaving it in the bag. That's what success is. And so you guys got to start having sales meetings. Well, Shane, I really don't want to do that. Sell your store. People say, I don't like role playing. Quit. Our 13-year-old son, JT, he's a baseball player, and one called me yesterday when I was on my way to the airport here, and he was pitching. He's been pitching since he was a little kid. He's had 2 innings with 9 pitches. He's had several games where, I mean, he's not obviously, he's just a kid, but he's had several games where we won by them not scoring a point. It's about teamwork, but it's about pitching. He's 13, and he's playing in the 13, 14, 15-year-olds. You know something? His coach has him go out to the mound with him, and they throw balls. And they throw balls. It's called role playing, right? It's called practice. Don't you think professional athletes practice? Don't you think people that are professionals in anything practice? So why do you have a problem practicing? And who we practice on is the client. And we use these kind of openings. What can I help you with? You at Walmart? Have you ever been there? I was at Walmart once and I thought I was at the Filming and Deliverance. That place is unbelievable. They go there in pajamas. Unbelievable. And so you've got to have sales meetings, and there's 3 kinds. And if you're serious about this industry, you start training your people. Because if you're not, your competitor is, and sooner or later, because their closing ratio is better, and their people are better, and they're better trained, you're going to be the one closing. First type of sales meeting is gemological, study of diamonds, colored gemstones. Client comes in, he's 27, he's done some research on the internet, and he says to one of your salespeople, what is the crown angle on an ideal cut? Got to know. Got to know. There's enough information right now on the internet that they can go to GIA. Never studied at GIA and passed GIA's written Diamonds 1 and 2 test. Not the grading, but the written. There's that much at their fingertips. And we let people go home and watch Survivor. Get some cheap Chinese carryout. The MSG puffs you up. You can't get your jewelry off. And you go to bed because you're tired. You get up the next morning, you do the same thing again, and you haven't learned a thing. In fact, people call me, they say, hey Shane, I hired this guy. He's got 20 years experience, and I interview people all the time. And I call him up and I interview him myself. Found out he had 1 year of experience 20 times over. Didn't have 20 years. Never self-improved after the first year. Just go home and watch Survivor. Eat some cheap Chinese carryout. Get up in the morning, do the same thing again the next day. You wonder why your closing ratio is 23%. GIA, seconds product knowledge. If you're a timepiece store, Rolex books are thick. Pandora's got an awesome training procedure manual, you guys. They train. You should know everything about every brand. If you have Hearts on Fire, everything. Roberto Coin, everything. If you've got Tacori, everything there is to know. Everything about every timepiece. You got to go home and study. Product knowledge is knowing everything about the product that there is to know. Then there's salesmanship. Oh yeah, that one. We have 8 presentations on that word that are 5 hours long. Studying sales profiles, how to handle objections, how to sell company benefits, how to add on, when to add on, how do you close, when to close, how do you close all the way through. And I wish I could tell you there was a college you could go to that you could get a 4-year degree in salesmanship, but there isn't. People spend a lot of money going to college. In fact, they go to school, they take marketing, and they take a sales class called Sales 101. I read the books these professors write. What is interesting is these professors have never sold anything. They write a book based on theory. Salesmanship's reality. And I just read this one where this professor wrote, practice the pass-by technique. I go, well, this is interesting. What the crap's that? Never heard of it. And so he said, when the client walks in your front door, walk right by him, act like you didn't see him, and then after a while spin around and go, oh, did you just come in? I called him up. And we had a conversation about the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I said, you teach kids that? Well, unbelievable what they teach. Act like they're not there. That's smart. They do that at Tiffany's. Yeah, salesmanship. How to handle price objections with speed and accuracy using a tool called value-added statements. And you get that from products and gemological knowledge. And there's 2 perceived values when a client comes in. The one they have coming in, the one they have after you're done. And if you didn't use value-added statements, they're going to think it's a lot of money. You see, value-added statements change their perception. And value-added statements makes negotiation go down and makes the closing ratio goes up because all of a sudden they know it's worth it. And if something's worth it like a red diamond, it's 1.1 million, they buy it. But if I ask you to write 10 value-added statements right now about diamonds, or any of your brands, it's not going to happen. Clients know more than you do, you guys, especially 27-year-old internet research junkie. Where do birthstones come from? Most of you don't know. Had a lady told me a while back out of the ground. Right. Fourth type is store procedure. How we set up, how we tear down, wearing gloves, what our security procedures are. When you let people in, you let them in after you close. How we write up job envelopes. Now owners, you always want your salespeople to put the client's name, address, all the information, and write a thorough description of what we're doing, give an exact price. You want everything exactly thorough. And you know what you write on owners? You write, fix this. Don't they? So leadership's by the right example, right? Oh, so I'll be right fixing on it if you do. You can't say a thing. You're the one that does it. You taught me to do that. Yeah, that's what owners do. Give it away and write, fix this. When do you hit your security button? What are our store procedures? What are our rules? Fifth type of sales meeting is store culture and philosophy, the study of truth. That's what sets you apart from everybody else. That's when you interject something called selling company benefits. And you see men, they buy peace of mind and freedom from risk. I buy warranties and guarantees, diamond warranties, guarantees, trade-in policies. Some repairs done while you wait. Jeweler on premises, custom goldsmith technician, GIA and HES lab reports, right down the line. Women by style, fashion, and sentiment, so you got to know how to sell it, because we sell feelings and emotions. Men by peace of mind and freedom from risk. You got to know how to sell it. So there's 5 kinds of sales meetings. People say, Shane, I run out of stuff to talk about. Really? If you had a sales meeting a week, and you just did the most popular 200 colored gemstones from GIA, that's 4 years. Where would you like to see? Teaching people how to handle objections. Come up with 40 of them and put each one on the front of a flashcard and put 5 or 6 answers on the back of each card and have your salespeople be able to build flashcards just like you did math when you were in 3rd grade. And every objection you handle with speed and accuracy, all 40 cards. If you can't go through the cards, you're not on my sales floor. Oh yeah, flashcards on objections. Oh yeah. And then you got to role play. People, I don't like it. I don't care. I do stuff I don't like all the time. You want to self-improve? Or you want to be like the guy that had 1 year of experience 20 times over? Huh? Where do you want to be? You want to be better than your competition? Or you want all the people that leave your stores and don't close them for you? Because most salespeople do something called a show and tell presentation versus a show and sell presentation. You can't tell them about it and not close. You got to do a show and sell, not a show and tell presentation. The definition of salesmanship is your professional ability to create the desire to get the client to want the product. That's the definition. Most people clerk. Every now and then you get a token. What's that? Well, that's when a client walks up to you and they're looking at the diamond bracelet. You say, how much is it? You tell them it's $49.95. The client goes, I'll take it. You do this. Don't do that. They're going to think you've never been there before. Good grief. Salesmanship is the hardest part of our industry. It's easy to merchandise. It's easy to build big, beautiful stores. A lot of you have multi-million-dollar inventories. It's easy to go get brands. What's really hard is building the team that will win the Super Bowl. Closing ratio makes your inventory turn go up. Team selling makes your inventory turn go up. Doing the research on advertising, knowing where to go, going for the right age groups and the right dollar amount on the income bracket makes your inventory turn go up. All of those things do. You can have the most beautiful store with the most gorgeous inventory and have an inventory turn of 0.9, 1.1. Guess what? Salesmanship is not happening in your store. It's not happening. What else is very interesting is this. A lot of you have people who have been with you 20, 30 years. And I come to your stores, I've trained actually over 4,000. And they've been there 20, 30 years. And I'll say, have you done GIA Diamonds 1 and 2? No, I haven't done that. Well, why not? You want to be smarter than your clients coming in? Well, I didn't think it's necessary. What are the crown angles on an ideal cut? I don't know. Maybe it's necessary. We allow our people to work for us to not educate themselves. Recent statistic out, 60 to 70% of all the kids that graduate from high school that do not go to college, after they turn 18, never read another book. That's the United States. Are you going to allow your people that work for you to not self-educate? Are you not going to have sales meetings? Well, guess what? Your inventory turn's not going to change. Product knowledge gives you self-confidence. And the more knowledge you have, the more self-confidence you have. Well, this is interesting. When you have self-confidence, the client has self-confidence in your self-confidence. Objections go down because they know you know what you're talking about, and the closing ratio goes up because there's less challenges thrown out. It's about knowledge. And what else is interesting is this. If you'll start teaching your people the team sell. I'm not team selling with her. Fired. That's how that works with me. It's real fast and it's real simple. You teach your people to team sell, everybody not closed. On an assist, coming in for a close, we're doing a team sell all the way through. I can show you all the research. I've done the research. I've read the research on research other major companies have done when they start putting it in. And there are stores today that if you don't team sell it, you're written up. And if you don't team sell it again, you're fired. By the way, Jared's. guys familiar with them? Their closing ratio is 44%. Yours is 23. They have a 1-hour sales meeting every morning, 363 days a year. They only don't do it Christmas, New Year's Eve because they're closed. They're smoking you. So if they leave and go there, they're not coming back to your store. So if you will team sell 2 people with every client, and the team seller, they come in on the same side of the case the client's on. It's called same side salesmanship, so they're not in a power position, and you always try to get on the client's right hand. Now, if they're standing against the corner on the right, you can, but they always try to get on the right hand. By the way, if you team sell everybody not closed, teamwork makes the closing ratio go up 50%. 50. Is that a lot of money in 365 days? Can't hear you. Well, Shane, we don't team sell. Well, maybe you ought to start. So if you have sales meetings, you do the research on where you need to be on advertising, you run a magic number report, you use the right margins, you believe in your price, you negotiate it less, if at all, you do the right kind of promotions, just not donations. You spend some money bringing in trainers or people to train your people, you start them on GIA or DCA. You get rid of the 2-year-old stuff. Make sure the magic numbers are in place so that all your numbers are real numbers they want to spend. You start tracking your closing ratio. Guess what's going to happen? All of these points, like I said, some of these are 3+ hour presentations. All right? I just took important stuff out of different parts. You start doing all of those things, your closing ratio is going to go up. I promise. And if the closing ratio goes up, inventory turn goes up. You double the closing ratio, once again. You go from a 1.3 turn by doubling the closing ratio to a 2.6 turn. Now you're making money. Now you're making money. I got somewhere else. They gave me, well, that's what they gave me. I want to thank all of you for coming. And I hope you took notes and I hope you learned something. And I can stick around for a few minutes and talk. We've got DVDs done on sales presentations and salesmanship, Power Pack 1 and 2. You've seen them advertised, you guys. They're $7.90. A quarter carat pays for it, all right? Say, Shane, we don't really do sales meetings. This is a good place to start. It comes with workbooks. If you want to order these, I got an order form up here. Just order it, email me, whatever. We don't do American Express. We do the others. I don't like what American Express does. You guys, I don't like that. So anyway, if you want to get started, come order these. I'll stick around a few minutes to answer questions. But my prayer is God bless you all very, very much. I want to thank you for having me come and have a great show. Thank you very much.